Within the TOTECS 16.1 platform release, we have extended the products, customer accounts, categories, and sales representatives text-based CSV spreadsheet file data imports within the administration center to be able to update and switch the codes of existing product, customer account, category, and sales representative records all stored within one TOTECS project. This bulk code switching capability is very useful if a business is updating its codes, such as if it was switching between different connected business systems, or it is superseding its codes with new ones, such as if products are being updated. By switching the codes of existing records, it allows all the data associated with the product's categories, customer accounts, or sales representative records to be maintained, instead of requiring to import new records with new codes and rebuild the data from scratch. This may save many hours of data work for administrated users and cause less headaches for users wondering why products have magically disappeared. To see how this works, if we go into the Administration Center and click on the Data menu button and click on the Data Imports menu item. Within the Data Imports interface, we have modified the Products text file data import, as well as the Categories data import, Customer Accounts data import, and the Sales Representatives data imports. So we'll start off with the Products data import. If we go into the Inventory menu and go into Product Search, upon the interface loading and we search for some products, we can see that we have a whole bunch of products that exist within this project, and we may want to update the codes that appear here for certain products. So within the Data Imports interface, if we click on the text file format details, we can see in the list of fields that is now available to set up within a spreadsheet, there is a new field here called New Product Code. So if we want to update the product code for particular products that are listed here, then within a spreadsheet editing application, we need to add two columns to a spreadsheet. One is called the product code, and the other one is the new product code. So within my LibreOffice Calc spreadsheet editor, and you could easily use Microsoft or Apple's or any online-based spreadsheet editor, we first need to get the name of the product code field and put that in the first column. And then within the second column, we need to put in the new product code field. Just like so. Now that we've got our header row, we can now enter product codes that we want to change. So I'll use the first product we have here. And if you're using numbers, you may want to format these columns to make sure that they're treated as text and not as numbers. That would remove leading zeros, because then those codes would not match up. So let's say we got our new code here. So now that we have that in place, we can add multiple rows to the spreadsheet if we want to update multiple products. So let's say we'll get this product over here. And for simplicity, we will put another suffix to the end of that and have that as AB. So we've now got two products that we're going to update our product codes for. If we save that file onto our file system. So within the file system, I'm going to create a file called here products-data, but you can call the name whatever you want. And it's very important, it has the CSV file extension, and the file type is a text-based CSV file. By default, your spreadsheet application may save it in a different format, such as an ODS, which is an open standard, or an XLSX standard, but we need it to be in the CSV, which is the text file based standard for spreadsheets. So if we click the save button, save it to the file system, and we just want to confirm that it's a CSV file format. And your spreadsheet editor may have additional options of how to say a CSV file, but the typical default approach is the best, where we're using commas for delimiting our fields and then using quotes to delimit the text within each cell. So we click on that save button. Now back within the data imports interface, we then click the upload file for that products data export. Now if we click on the upload file for the products data export, locate that file, click the open button. Now upload that file, and it will process each of the records. And as all is successful, we can see that it will tell us that it's 100% successfully finished. And if there was any errors that occurred, then we will see them here if those products could not be updated. So we can see this particular data import, each of those rows within the spreadsheet, it couldn't find the relevant products, because as I was saying before, the zeros were getting chopped off. So instead we'll format this row to be text-based. Now I've fixed up the data there. So we'll save the file again, re-upload the same file. So once that has been completed, we check the error logs, there's no more errors. Now if we go into the product search and reload the search, we can see that those products have our new prefixes that we've added. These products codes will be updated to all linked entities to products. So that includes baskets, orders, favorites, shopping list, and related products. So that means if a user had a product in their basket that had the old code, now that code now appearing in the basket would be this new code. But there are some exceptions where the codes will not be updated. That includes our logging tables. For historical reasons, the old codes will be kept in the logs. If we have order surcharge rules, so within the stores menu, within the order surcharges, if you had a rule that tried to match products based on the codes that have been set, you need to modify these rules and update the value to the new product code that you are looking for. And this also occurs if you had inventory permission rules, such as within the users menu, within the user permissions interface. If you had an inventory role, within that role, if you had an item override that had a rule saying for a product to be visible or not, if that rule had the reference to the old code, then it would need to be manually updated within that rule as well. We would have to go in there and click the save button, and then we'll need to make sure we reapply the inventory permissions after that is done. And the same would occur if you've got product deals and vouchers. Within its interface, if you had a rule to match on a product with that old code, then that rule would also have to be updated to reference the new code. So that both shows you how to update product records with new codes, and you can add hundreds of records here to a single spreadsheet, so you can do the data in one big hit as opposed to doing it only one or two products at a time. And also the limitations where if there's any rules set up in the system, you may have to go through and manually update those rules if you're targeting specific codes within those rules, whether it is for order surcharges, such as if freight needs to be calculated based on if a certain product is in the basket, or you've got inventory permissions to allow or deny certain products being shown or added to basket based on a specific code, then they will have to be updated, as well as in the products, deals, and vouchers. But by doing this, you can potentially update thousands of products and their codes within a single spreadsheet upload. Now for the categories text file based data import, we can also update the codes of existing categories. If we look in its text file format details, we can see that there is a new column here that is included in the list called new category code. For this type of data import, there are two fields that we need to include. We need to include the category code column as well as the new category code column. So within a spreadsheet application, we've got our two columns as labeled within the first row. And then what we're doing here is we're changing the category that has the code general-stationery-equipment to just general-stationery. And for this second category, we are changing it from files and pockets to files pockets without the and word. So we save that as a CSV file. We do the same process. We click the upload file button against the categories text file data import, choose our CSV file containing the category data, click the open. Once again, we'll look at the error log and check that there's no errors. Then if we go into the categories interface, previously if our category was called general stationery equipment, then if we reload the page, we can now see that that category has changed its code and all the child categories underneath it are still existing. The categories data import will update the other categories assigned to a specific category with the new code, but it will not update within logs, and it will not update where there are category-based rules. So that is included in the product deals and vouchers feature. So if we had a rule to find products on a deal that match a certain category, such as we have here, then we would need to go into that rule and put in the code of the new category and regenerate the deals from there. We need to do that across all the active deals, and same for the user permissions. If we had item override rules that says that products can or can't be viewed or added to basket based on a category, such as if we had a rule here, then we would also have to manually update that rule there as well, and then regenerate the inventory permissions for that to take effect. For the customer accounts text file data import, we can update the existing customer account codes of existing records to new codes. To do that, if we click on the text file format details, we can see that we have the column that can be used in our spreadsheet file called account code, and then there's a new column we can add called new account code. Just like the other imports, if we create a spreadsheet file with the names of those columns within the first row, and then the codes of our existing customer account records, and then the new codes that we want to change them to, if we save that file as a CSV text file, then we click the upload button against the customer accounts text file data import and choose our spreadsheet CSV file. Once that is uploaded, we check the error logs to make sure it was able to find those customer accounts and no errors occurred. Then if we go into the customer accounts interface, if we reload that, we can see that those codes have now been updated. And it's not just here that they will be updated. Any users assigned to these customer accounts, these codes will be updated for, as well as within baskets, existing orders, and content managed websites regions. Where these codes will not be updated is with any logs storing historical information about those accounts that had been doing orders or making payments. They'll also not be updated within any order surcharge rules. So if we went into the order surcharges interface, if we had a rule that says to apply or not apply a surcharge for users ordering on behalf of a particular account, we'll have to manually update our rules there to make sure that they match correctly. As well as within the products, deals and vouchers, if we're using marketing user groups to find users, then within the user groups we would also have to modify any rules that we had to refer to the new account codes. And additionally, if we're setting up user registration profiles for a particular account, we will also have to update those profiles if they're referencing the old account codes. So it's important that we update those values there if required. And there is also a setting within the user's general settings interface of which account should be the default customer account that is used for guest users, also known as the retail account. That may also need to be updated if the account referenced has had its code changed. For the sales representatives data import, we have the ability to use that to also update the existing identifiers or codes of sales representative records, such as we can see here within the sales representative IDs user interface. We may want to update those codes. Now, in order to do that, we click on the text file format details, and we can see also for this import, it has a new column called new sales rep code. So we could create a CSV spreadsheet file, such as I've done here, containing the first row contains the names of those columns. And within that, we specify the codes or IDs of our existing sales rep records. And then we set in the second column the codes that we want to change those records to. So once we've created this file and saved it as a CSV spreadsheet file, then within the data imports interface, if we click on the upload file against that data import, select the file and click the open button. That would then upload the file, try to update those codes. We check the error logs to make sure there's no errors that occurred in that process. Then if we go back into the sales representative IDs interface and we reload that, we can now see that the sales representative IDs or those codes have been changed. And they will just not change here. If there's any users who are linked to these records, they will also be updated, such as we have a user here who is a sales representative user. Upon reloading the page, we can see that has automatically updated there. So that user is still assigned to the sales representative record there, ensuring that they can order on behalf for the customer accounts where that sales representative record is linked to. The sales representative ID will update against the users, the customer accounts that sales representative is linked to, as well as the existing orders. It will not update any log-based historical log data where that representative ID there, since it's stored for historical reasons. But for all the important things that sales representatives do within a TOTECS project, they will be updated. So that shows you how you can use the products, categories, customer accounts, and sales representatives text file data imports to upload CSV files that contain references between the old codes of those records to the new codes, allowing many records to be updated in one bulk upload. And this can save administrator users hours of time having to manage that process. Now, it is important to note that once the codes of the records have been updated, if you are then running any connected data imports, importing those types of data from an external business system, to make sure that those systems have also got the updated codes. Otherwise, when these imports run, they will create new records, and that could create more problems than it solves. So it is very important that you have a data migration strategy in place before you use these data imports to upload the codes, and you ensure that you're updating them in a safe way that doesn't necessarily create more records or create more confusion to your user base. Another improvement that we've added for the products, categories, customer accounts, and sales representative text file data import, its ability to update the key identifiers of these different record types. These key identifiers are used to link those records within a business system to within the TOTECS platform. So to take an example, for the products text file data import, we can see that there is a column here called key product ID. Now if we went into the product editor, we can see also where that key identifier is specified. So if we look at this product, which is a small green t-shirt, it has a separate identifier of this product, and that identifier may be coming from an accounting system, a warehouse management system, or any kind of linked business system. So when a product is imported from those systems using the connected data import, the way that the product's connected data import is able to find and update this product is it uses these key identifiers. These key identifiers may be UUIDs, also known as a Universal Unique Identifier, which is only known in the back end of that system, so it's not a human identified number, or it may be the same as the product code if that business system stores its product code as the key or the primary identifier of a product. So what this means is that you can use these text file data imports to now update the key identifiers, the linking identifiers of records TOTECS to those business systems. And you may want to do that if you are switching between business systems, such as you're migrating from one enterprise resource planning system to a separate different system, and it uses different unique identifiers of those products. For a products text file data import, we could use the same product code column that has the code of the existing product, and then we can specify the key product ID and specify the new value for that existing product. So we can do this across hundreds, if not thousands of products using a spreadsheet and upload them as we demonstrated earlier in this video. So the same can be done for the categories. It has its own key identifying column, as well as for the customer accounts. There is the key customer account ID column that can be used to update that, as long as an existing customer account can be found. And for the sales representative users, it can also be done. There is the key sales rep ID column that is available there. And they all use the same process of matching an existing records code, and then once that is found, then the key identifying record can be found. And it may also be labeled as the accounting link ID in various interfaces within the administration center. So by doing that, it avoids the need to have to rely upon the TOTECS service team, and it makes it much easier to switch between business systems. If you are changing the key identifiers, you've got to make sure that the connector data imports, which are also importing data, are not running, or they only run to synchronize the data from the other system after those key identifiers have been updated. Otherwise, there is a chance that new records may get created. So this feature may save many hours of administrator time, and it may cut down on the communication that is required to switch between business systems, allowing for a more smooth transition. So this is another great tool within the administration center to help administrator users effectively manage products, categories, customer accounts, and sales representatives, which are some of the most important entities in any e-commerce based website. Click on the video links to view the next features that were added to this release.